Part 41. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuan-Chi. Chapter 402. Holding the sword in one hand, Yejuju leaned over and looked at William indifferently, and asked in a cold voice. "How is it? Have you admitted defeat? Are you still fighting?" Hearing such words, not to mention William, even the students watching the game were afraid of Yejuju. It is human nature to seek benefits and avoid harm. Facing someone who is so ruthless as Yejuju, everyone will instinctively not want to associate with Yejuju because of fear and disgust. Of course, this does not include Luo Feng, and his roommates Shizhang and Zhao Ruo. On the contrary, the three of them secretly cheered for Yejuju. You must know that although the training camp is a place to cultivate war gods, there are still factional disputes and closeness in secret. It is common for students to calculate each other and compete for resources. And Yejuju and Luo Feng are newcomers, so they will naturally be suppressed and excluded by others. But with what happened today, I believe that there will be fewer people who want to attack the two of them. William looked up at Yejuju, his eyes could not help but dodge, and he said with difficulty. I admit defeat. Okay, since you admit defeat, I will accept the 10 billion without hesitation. Thank you. After saying that, Yejuju's consciousness exited from the simulator. At the same time, the system voice in his mind also sounded. Congratulations to the host, complete the temporary task. Defeat William, and reward 5,000 experience. Hearing the system prompt, Yejuju finally let out the anger in his heart. After all, not only did he mentally abuse William, but he also got 10 billion benefits. What else is there to be dissatisfied with? Sitting up from the chair, he walked out of the hall and said to Candace from a distance. If there is still such an opportunity, you must find me, rich man. After saying that, with Candace's face turning dark, he took Luo Feng and Zhao Ruo Shijiang back to Jiangnan Pavilion. No matter how Zhao Ruo praised Yejuju happily, from this moment on, rumors spread throughout the training camp that Yejuju should not be easily provoked. Because this man is too cruel. If you don't have the strength to beat Yejuju, it's best not to provoke him easily if you don't want to be completely abused. This scene was also seen by Li Yao and Vainana. Yejuju's actions did not scare the equally cruel Li Yao, nor Vainana, who was the helmsman of the HR alliance of the Bolanaz family. On the contrary, they became more determined. The two wanted to completely get rid of him. Yejuju and Luo Feng's determination. Because Li Yao clearly knew how great the potential of Yejuju and Luo Feng was. You have to know that it has only been less than a year since the two of them became formal warriors and now have the strength of the general level. It is conceivable that if the two are given enough time, they will sooner or later surpass him, the high-level god of war, and become an existence that he looks up to. By then, let alone killing the two to avenge his son, it is hard to say whether Yejuju and Luo Feng will let him go. However, how to kill Yejuju and Luo Feng requires long-term planning. Next, Yejuju and Luo Feng have completely established their foothold in the training camp. After that, no one came to disturb Yejuju and Luo Feng from practicing with Zhangfang. Time passed quickly, and more than half a month passed in the blink of an eye. During these 10 days, Yejuju intentionally or unintentionally showed his ice ability in front of Zhangfang, hoping to let Hong know through her and become interested in him, so that the iceberg could help him master more powerful ice abilities. Unfortunately, things did not go as he wished. I don't know whether Zhangfang did not report this matter or Hong did not notice him. In short, he did not wait for the person Yejuju wanted to wait for. On this day, the two were practicing against each other in the martial arts training field. It must be said that Luo Feng is worthy of being the protagonist of this world, with his comprehension and qualifications. They are all top-notch people, and their progress is amazingly fast. Although he is still not Yejuju's opponent in the competition, he is no longer as vulnerable as before. At this moment, Zhaoruo and Shizhang, who were practicing in the villa, ran out in a hurry, and rushed to the outside of Jiangnan Pavilion without even saying hello to the two. Seeing the two like this, Yejuju couldn't help but feel moved, thinking secretly, no way. Could it be that the scene of the monster attacking the Jiangnan base was staged? Thinking of this, Yejuju and Luo Feng looked at each other and hurriedly chased up. Luo Feng also shouted, brother, sister, what happened, why are you so anxious? Hearing the sound, the two stopped, and Shizhang turned to the two and said, a beast tide has occurred, and the Jiangnan base is in danger. I am a warrior of the god of war and need to go to the front line to support. After saying that, Shizhang turned around and rushed out again. Zhaoruo stayed behind to continue explaining to the two of them. This time, a large number of beast tides were found to attack the base walls at the Jiangnan base. The situation is a bit bad. We received a notice from the military and the martial arts hall that the training camp and Jiangnan-born students above the god of war level are needed to go to support. Although you have some strength, it is still not enough. You should stay and continue to practice. Before she finished, Luo Feng said anxiously, senior sister, you can practice at any time, but my family is in the Jiangnan base, I have to go and see. After saying that, Luo Feng bypassed Zhaoruo and chased out. Alas, you! Zhaoruo hurriedly wanted to speak to stop him, but it was too late, because Luo Feng had already run hundreds of meters away. Looking at Luo Feng leaving, Yejuju naturally would not fall behind, shrugged and said, let's go and see too. After saying that, he also chased after him. When the two chased them out of the training camp, they happened to see Yang Hui and two other instructors dressed neatly, plus Shizhang, who was about to board a fighter plane and fly to the Jiangnan base. But Luo Feng stood there, anxiously wanting to reach out and call Yang Hui and others. Unfortunately, Yang Hui and others did not take Luo Feng with them. They got on the fighter plane and took off towards the Jiangnan base. Looking at the retreating fighter plane, Luo Feng gritted his teeth unwillingly and rushed out of the base. Seeing this, Yejuju knew that Luo Feng must be taking the subway to Jiangnan base, but he didn't dare to delay. After all, there was a mission with him, so of course he had to follow him for the mission. So, Yejuju said to Zhaoruo, senior sister, you go back first, I'll go out too. After saying that, regardless of how Zhaoruo reacted, he rushed out after Luo Feng. Fortunately, Yejuju was much faster than Luo Feng, and he caught up with Luo Feng, who was running on foot, in just a moment, and said while running side by side with him, you kid, don't you think of me as your brother? Don't call me if you want to go back. While running, Luo Feng glanced at Yejuju gratefully and said gratefully, brother, yeah, me. Okay, stop talking nonsense. Time waits for no one. If we get to the airport, we might be able to catch a fighter plane and fly to the Jiangnan base. Impatiently waving his hand to interrupt Luo Feng's words, Yejuju finished speaking urgently and ran towards the airport with Luo Feng. It took about 10 minutes for the two of them to arrive outside the airport. Many transport planes were busy carrying supplies, which were obviously going to be sent to the Jiangnan base. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 403. After the two of them looked at each other in tacit understanding, they saw that a transport plane had been equipped and was about to take off. They immediately rushed forward and got on the left and right wings of the transport plane. Diamond suit, diamond suit, diamond suit. After the transport plane flew into the sky, the pilot also saw two people squatting on the wings of the plane from the surveillance camera. As expected, the two of them were welcomed into the cabin by the pilot. Listening to the pilot's nagging accusations, the two of them did not blame the pilot. On the other side, outside the Jiangnan base, countless monsters are swarming towards the base wall like a tide. In the sky, There are also flying monsters such as the Golden Vulture and the Black-Crowned Golden Vulture, which hit the energy shield of the base one after another. The base's automatic defense forces, electromagnetic pulse cannons, laser charging cannons, and small artillery all started to charge, and they locked onto the flying monsters in the sky and eliminated them at targeted locations. Searched can on Google. It's a pity, despite the power of these weapons. Each shot fired can kill a flying monster. But the charging time of the cannon is too long, and there are too many flying monsters, causing the energy shield to be hit from time to time. The energy of the shield is also consumed rapidly, and it seems that it will not last long before the monsters break through. Although most of the monsters on the ground were low-level monsters, there were too many of them, which overwhelmed the base's defensive forces. Just look at the dense formations of tanks and armored vehicles on the ground that are firing continuously, but they still can't stop the monster's impact, and you can tell how urgent it is. Yang Hui and the other gods of war sitting on the fighter plane would naturally not participate in such a battle. Their purpose was very clear. The purpose is to find the leader of this beast tide and kill him. As long as he is killed, the beast tide will collapse on its own. But unfortunately, several people searched all around the base and could not find the high-level monster commanding this beast wave. Little did they know that the person commanding this beast tide was a hydra-headed dragon snake, a high-level lord-level monster that was about to break through to the king level. This is nothing, the most troublesome thing is. This is an extremely smart monster with extremely powerful mental power. Otherwise, how can it command so many monsters and continuously attack the base? The reason why it cannot be seen is that it is hiding in the dark and is looking for opportunities to enter the base and swallow a large amount of human energy for body evolution. Just when a large amount of the base's power was mobilized to the city wall, the nine-headed dragon snake had already moved from the city wall where the fierce battle was taking place to a relatively weakly defended area. The next moment, the nine-headed dragon snake launched an attack. The 9 huge snake heads collided fiercely, breaking the relatively weak energy shield with just one blow, and then the city wall collapsed, revealing a gap. Before the humans could react, countless monsters summoned by the powerful mental power of the Hydra rushed into the base. The number of human soldiers defending here was not large, but they still tried their best to shoot and block the invasion of the monsters. But it's a pity that with so few people, how can they stop the invasion of monsters? Therefore, after holding on for less than 10 minutes, the defense line established by the soldiers was overrun by monsters. Countless monsters broke through the city wall and scattered into the city, launching a brutal massacre against humans. Many people who had no time to escape were helplessly bitten and devoured by the monsters. There were roars of monsters and frightened shouts of ordinary people everywhere. There are also warriors in the city, but most of them are assisting the military guards at the city walls. There are very few who stay in the city, and even fewer who can come out to save the people. After learning that the Hydra had entered the base commander Marshal Li Dai personally sought help from the HR Alliance, hoping to transport more supplies to Jiangnan to help the Jiangnan base tide over the difficulties. The person who answered the phone was Vanina. She promised readily, but privately she ordered all transport planes belonging to the HR Alliance to return immediately and not deliver supplies to the Jiangnan base. How could she not know how terrifying a 9-headed dragon snake was? Not to mention that the Jiangnan base has been breached by monsters. Even if it hadn't, it would be impossible to stop the invasion of the Hydra. There's no way around it. Why is the Hydra a rare monster that's good at mental attacks? Except for a few of the strongest humans who can resist a monster like this, no warrior can kill it. Therefore, in order not to waste the Alliance's supplies, Vanina issued an order to withdraw from the Jiangnan base. Of course, the transport plane Yejuju and Luofeng were on was also from the HR Alliance. The pilot received the order to return immediately, but Yejuju and Luofeng coerced him to continue flying to the Jiangnan base. When the transport plane arrived over the Jiangnan base, what it saw was a city full of monsters, chasing and killing humans. Fortunately, soldiers helped to resist, and most of the humans were rescued. But the number of soldiers is limited after all, and there are always monsters that slip through the net and catch up with humans from other roads. The most unlucky thing was that when the three people's transport plane was looking for a suitable landing place, it was discovered by a high-level beast general monster. It opened its mouth and sprayed an energy bomb, hitting the transport plane. The transport plane was severely damaged and immediately fell to the ground uncontrollably. Yejuju saw that the transport plane had begun to fall, and there were some ordinary people on the ground being chased by monsters. He said to Luo Feng in a hurry. I said Herfot stepping on the star A. Luo Feng, use your mental power to land the transport plane smoothly. I'll go down first to deal with the monsters on the ground. As soon as the voice fell, Yejuju had already put on his falcon armor and flew out of the rear door of the cabin with a whoosh sound. Luo Feng didn't have time to speak. Yejuju had already flown far away, and the transport plane was about to hit the ground. He hurriedly used his mental power to drag the transport plane and slowly landed on the ground. Yejuju had already flown over the monster that was about to pounce and bite ordinary people. Seeing this, two ice knives condensed in his hands, and he swung out two blades without hesitation, killing all four monsters on the ground. Without waiting for the thanks of the frightened people, Yejuju urged them to go to the shelter quickly, and he flew to the place where other monsters broke through to rescue the humans chased by monsters. There were many monsters rushing into the city. Even if Yejuju could fly and his combat power was even stronger, it was just a drop in the bucket. He could not completely kill all the monsters rushing into the city in a short time. Acting as a firefighter and killing monsters everywhere, Yejuju couldn't help wondering in his heart. How come he has killed so many monsters, but still hasn't triggered the system's task? Could it be killing these ordinary monsters won't be recognized by the system? After killing monsters for more than an hour, there were basically no ordinary people in the city. Most of them were escorted into the underground shelter by Yejuju and the soldiers. Only monsters and soldiers were left in the city, fighting hard to kill monsters, trying their best to keep Jiangnan Bay City from being completely occupied by monsters. At this moment, a monster roar like a dragon's roar came from the city wall, followed by the loud sound of the collapse of the city wall and buildings in the city. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 404. Yejuju guessed that it was the nine-headed dragon snake that had entered the city. Somehow, Yejuju suddenly had a premonition that after killing the nine-headed dragon snake, he would get some extraordinary benefits. So, Yejuju hovered in the air and turned his body to look behind him. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. It didn't matter that Yejuju saw a huge monster figure with a height of at least 50 to 60 meters and 9 snake heads flying like blooming flowers. These 9 snake heads were fighting with several figures flying in the air. From their clothes, it can be seen that it was the God of War team led by Yang Hui, who prevented the nine-headed dragon snake from continuing to go deep into the city, destroying the buildings in the city and slaughtering and devouring humans. But unfortunately, although the nine-headed dragon snake was only a high-level lord-level monster, it had 9 heads and spiritual power to rely on, so Yang Hui and others could not defeat it. Even if some of them risked getting injured and cut off one of the heads of the nine-headed dragon snake, a new snake head would grow in a very short time. Fortunately, these few people blocked the nine-headed dragon snake, which also gave the military a chance to counterattack. Look, a large number of aircraft flew over, and there were also many weapons on the ground that were like gun barrels, occupying high points and surrounding the nine-headed dragon snake. Then, the aircraft and soldiers fired at the nine-headed dragon snake. It was amazing that these weapons did not fire bullets or energy shells, but all white beams. After the beam hit the body of the nine-headed dragon snake, the place where the nine-headed dragon snake was shot immediately turned white and turned into ice. Yejuju knew that these weapons were the freezing laser guns developed by the military to deal with Lord-level monsters. Although this weapon is still useful, it can't really kill the nine-headed dragon snake. It can only freeze it temporarily. Yejuju knew that the next time the nine-headed dragon snake would explode was also Luo Feng's highlight moment. How could he miss it? So Yejuju activated the thrusters on his hands and feet and flew towards the direction of the nine-headed dragon snake. When Yejuju landed on the battlefield, Yejuju finally heard the long-lost prompt of the system. Host triggers the world mission. Kill the nine-headed dragon snake, reward experience 40,000, special reward once. Good guy, another special reward. Yejuju couldn't help but look forward to it, looking forward to what this special reward would be. As soon as the few people met each other, Yang Hui looked at Yejuju in surprise. Because Yejuju was wrapped in armor at this time, Yang Hui really couldn't recognize Yejuju for a while. But this was not the time to introduce each other, because the ice layer on the frozen nine-headed dragon snake had begun to crack, and the nine-headed dragon snake was about to break free. As in the drama, Yang Hui suggested to lead the nine-headed dragon snake into the city, restrict its movements with buildings, and find an opportunity to kill it. But Luo Feng had a different opinion, and wanted to lead the nine-headed dragon snake out of the city. While the two were arguing, the nine-headed dragon snake had already escaped, and its nine heads all made deafening roars. The next moment, the nine-headed dragon snake went crazy, and its nine heads attacked the soldiers and warriors who surrounded it in all directions. These soldiers were just slightly stronger ordinary people, and a few junior warriors, who were no match for the nine-headed dragon snake, and countless people were killed and injured in an instant. Aida. Tsidhar fought nice love a. There was no time to discuss, Yejuju started the thrusters and rushed towards the nine-headed dragon snake. 50 meters away, he merged the ice knives in his hands into a 10-meter giant knife, and raised his hand to slash the nine-headed dragon snake with two icy blades. The nine-headed dragon snake, which was in the midst of slaughtering, was caught off guard and was hit by two blades. A thin layer of ice appeared on its body, but it could not restrict its movements at all. Seeing Yejuju's attack, Luo Feng rushed up without hesitation, and drove the telekinetic flying knife to stab one of the nine heads of the nine-headed dragon snake from a distance. Seeing this, Yang Hui was afraid that Luo Feng would not be able to defeat the nine-headed dragon snake and his life would be in danger, so he hurriedly called on several war gods to join forces again to fight against the nine-headed dragon snake. For a while, the nine-headed dragon snake was surrounded by 6 people, and they all attacked it. What a pity! The nine-headed dragon snake has 9 heads, just one head is enough to deal with one person. Among the few people, Yang Hui's attack was still powerful. Taking advantage of the opportunity when one of the heads had no time to retract after the attack, he fiercely cut off another head of the nine-headed dragon snake with a knife. The nine-headed dragon snake whose head was cut off suddenly screamed miserably, and the sound was so loud that Yejuju's eardrums hurt. The next second, the remaining 8 heads of the nine-headed dragon snake all raised high, and golden energy beams were ejected from their mouths. The beam was extremely powerful, and it blasted all the buildings on all sides into pieces like a rotten wood. Fortunately, several people dodged in time, otherwise they would have been killed by this blast. One attack was not enough, the nine-headed dragon snake launched a mental attack again. Suddenly, among the few people, except Luo Feng who was a mentalist who could resist the mental impact of the nine-headed dragon snake, the rest of them all felt dizzy, and then they felt a stabbing pain like a needle, and they could no longer stay in the air and fell down one after another. Except for Yejuju and Yang Hui who could barely hold on, the rest of the people couldn't help but hold their heads and scream when they fell to the ground. Seeing his companions like this, Luo Feng's mind turned very quickly. After just a little thought, he understood why he was not affected by the nine-headed dragon snake's mental shock. Since he was not affected, Luo Feng also gave it a try and jumped into the center of the nine-headed dragon snake's mental shock. The nine-headed dragon snake saw that Luo Feng, a human, dared to face its mental shock center, and also found that he was a rare mind master. It immediately felt that a delicious meal was delivered to its mouth, so it did not hesitate to change its target. The two huge snake heads turned upside down, trying to control Luo Feng and drain Luo Feng's mental power. Several people watched Luo Feng jump into the air and was attacked by the two heads of the nine-headed dragon snake from both sides. The golden energy beams shone on Luo Feng's body from left and right. But strangely, Luo Feng did not scream, but was suspended in the air, with his hands pulling the golden spiritual beam of the nine-headed dragon snake on the left and right, maintaining a very magical balance, consuming the spiritual power of the nine-headed dragon snake. And those who saw the scene were not only Yejuju and his friends, but also the top strong people in the world, who also saw the scene through satellite monitoring. Some people who understood immediately understood that Luo Feng was a rare spiritualist, and he was using his body as a conductor to pull the spiritual energy of the nine-headed dragon snake and attack it. But only a few people knew how dangerous it was to do so. It would be fine if Luo Feng's body was as strong as a monster. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 405. Unfortunately, Luo Feng's physical fitness is only that of a junior warrior. If he is used as a conductor for a long time, once the energy output of the Hydra snake exceeds the limit of his body's endurance, what awaits him will be death by explosion. Of course, everyone present did not want Luo Feng to die here. They all prayed that Luo Feng could create a miracle and drain out the spiritual energy in the nine-headed dragon snake. But Yejuju, who had known the result for a long time, understood that Luo Feng was simply seeking death by doing this. He did indeed do this in the play, but because the vengeful Li Yao and his wife invaded the satellite, Luo Feng, who was wearing a battle armor and connected to the satellite, experienced a momentary delay in his body and mind. The mental impact of the Hydra snake instantly knocked Luo Feng unconscious, and he almost died in the mouth of the Hydra snake after it sucked all the spiritual power out of his body. If instructor Zhang from the Jiangnan Extreme Martial Arts School hadn't realized something was wrong, he would have risked his life by holding a bomb into the Hydra's mouth and detonating the bomb, injuring the Hydra. He would not save Luo Feng, but let Luo Feng absorb the mental power of the Hydra as a blessing in disguise, allowing his mental power to break through to the God of War level. Thinking that Luo Feng had absorbed the spiritual power of the nine-headed dragon snake and broken through to an unprecedented God of War level spiritual master, Yejuju couldn't help but feel his heart beat faster. Combining the tasks issued by the system, Yejuju suddenly understood what the system called special rewards. Will he just allow himself to become a spiritual master? When he thought that after killing the Hydra, he might gain spiritual power. From now on, like Luo Feng, he can control the sky shuttle to kill powerful enemies. Yejuju couldn't help but get excited. The next moment, just when instructor Zhang was about to die holding the bomb, Yejuju had already moved first. Enduring the pain like needles in his head, Yejuju exploded the energy of the propeller to the maximum and rushed over the Hydra. With a strong mental stance, he approached the Hydra and Luo at the speed of ordinary people. Between the peaks. Seeing another human coming to die, the nine-headed dragon snake stretched out its two snake heads towards Yejuju, hoping to use the same method to control Yejuju and drain Yejuju's life energy. At this time, Yejuju was extremely nervous and was ready to let the system teleport him back to the Marvel world at any time. Because he wasn't sure. After the mental power of the Hydra enters his body, will the system determine that the mental power is absorbable energy like in the Marvel world, allowing the Universal Forge to absorb the mental power of the Hydra? He did this because he was really coveting the ability of the spiritual master. Finally, Yejuju was finally attacked by two snake heads, one from the left and one from the right. The huge spiritual energy instantly impacted Yejuju's whole body. The armor seemed to have lost its effect at this moment, unable to resist the invasion of mental power. The skin of Yejiju's head felt the pain caused by the mental impact. His head suddenly swelled with pain as if it was about to explode, as if his head was about to explode in the next moment. This feeling was very bad and made Yejiju feel disappointed. Just when Yejiju thought that his judgment was wrong and he was about to let the system send him back, the system's voice sounded like a gospel from heaven. Congratulations to the host, you have discovered that energy can be absorbed. The universal furnace has started on its own and begun to absorb this energy. Energy is being absorbed. The surprise came so unexpectedly that Yejiju couldn't help shouting in his heart. Opportunities always come to those who dare to take action. This time I made the right bet, didn't I? Seeing Yejiju and Luo Feng both falling into the mental impact of the nine-headed dragon snake, Instructor Zhang suddenly became anxious and wanted to hold the bomb and continue to die, but Yang Hui, who saw something, reached out and stopped him. Don't worry, look. With that said, Yang Hui stretched out his hand and pointed at Luo Feng, who was already unconscious. At this time, he had opened his eyes and was able to maintain balance with the mental impact of the Hydra as before. Of course, all of this had to be done by Yejiju in time to save the lives of Luo Feng and Instructor Zhang. It was because of Yejiju's timely action that the nine-headed dragon snake dispersed its mental power to deal with Yejiju, and the impact on Luo Feng's body was lessened. It was also because the automatic activation of the universal furnace absorbed the mental power of the nine-headed dragon snake that the nine-headed dragon snake noticed something was wrong and transferred most of its attention to Yejiju, giving Luo Feng a chance to wake up. Yejiju felt as if he was sunbathing at this time, enjoying the refreshing feeling brought by the mental power of the Hydra snake washing over his body. Because, like Luo Feng, his body is no longer the target of the Hydra's attack, it is just a conductor. The difference is that Luo Feng guided the nine-headed dragon snake's mental power to attack itself. But Yejiju introduced his spiritual power into his body and was absorbed by the universal furnace. What he didn't notice was that the energy value in his body was rapidly decreasing. From the original 8,600 points, it is rapidly decreasing at a rate of 100 per second. In fact, what Yejiju didn't know was that although the energy in his body was considered high level, it was incomparable to the spiritual power of this world and was several levels lower. After absorbing the mental power of the Hydra, the universal furnace automatically began to use mental power to purify and devour the energy in Yejiju's body based on the principle of high-level fusion with low-level ones. This is why the energy in Yejiju's body is rapidly decreasing. When the mental power devours and purifies the original energy in Yejiju's body, it will also recover quickly, and even exceed the original energy value of Yejiju. The consequence of this is that Yejiju's own physical fitness will also have a qualitative leap. At this time, Luo Feng also saw Yejiju, who was also wrapped in the mental power of the nine-headed dragon snake. Seeing that Yejiju was wrapped in the mental power of the nine-headed snake dragon, not only did he not look uncomfortable, but he also had an expression of enjoyment. Herfat I dotsa tu ka. He was so sharp that he seemed to understand something in an instant. It has to be said that the protagonist is the protagonist. Always able to seize the opportunity of the moment, Luo Feng did not hesitate to try to absorb the mental power of the nine-headed dragon snake when diverting the mental power into the body. This time, the nine-headed dragon snake instantly discovered the abnormal loss of mental power. It panicked immediately, but could not stop the process. Because at this moment, it was like a source of water that had long been overflowing, and it could not stop the flow of water just because it wanted to. The only way to stop it was to increase the output of spirit, hoping to burst the bodies of the two. In this way, not only could Yejiju and the other two be killed, but the moment their bodies exploded, the spirit and vitality of the two people would be absorbed. The nine-headed dragon snake thought so, and so did it. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuan Chi. Chapter 406. Regardless of the fact that there was still one head that had not yet grown out, the remaining 4 heads of the Hydra began to move, attacking the 2 of them in pairs. In this way, every 4 snake heads surround one person, increasing the output of mental power. Originally, if it were not for Yejuju, or if it were someone else, Hydra snake would definitely succeed in doing this. After all, compared to the mental power of a high-level Lord-level monster, it is not something that a human high-level warrior-level spiritual master can compare with. When the Hydra dragon snake exerts all its spiritual power, the 2 of them will definitely be overwhelmed by the huge spiritual power. But just because of Yejuju's presence and the omnipotent furnace in Yejuju's body, all the plans of the Hydra-headed dragon snake came to nothing, and it even accelerated its death. Hydra also discovered the situation, but it was impossible to stop it. One of the 9 snake heads was chopped off by Yang Hui, and the remaining 8 were unable to move at this time. What could it do? After seeing the scene on the screen, Li Yao could clearly see at a glance that the Hydra was in a passive position. He couldn't restrain the anger in his heart. He smashed the coffee table in front of him with an angry palm and yelled filial piety to Wynonna. Give me another invasion of the satellite and make their armors shut down. No matter what the cost, I will let them all die. Wynonna looked unwilling and ruthless. She dialed the phone without hesitation in the next second and ordered her hackers to invade the satellite immediately. Let Yejuju and his 2 armors freeze. The consequences of doing this are, to be honest, very serious. Because, a short delay between the armor and the satellite is reasonable, and no one will find out anything afterwards. But if the armor is delayed or even crashes again, it cannot be explained by a machine failure. The hacker who received the order hesitated on the other end of the phone and was about to persuade Wynonna a few words when he heard Wynonna yell angrily. Whatever I want you to do, do it, or else. Your whole family is going to die. Immediately. Immediately. Just do it. The hacker couldn't bear Vanina's anger, so he immediately agreed and began to operate. But it's a pity. This time the hacker can no longer invade the satellite. No matter how he attacks, he cannot enter the satellite system to operate. Because just when Yejuju planned to enter the mental attack range of the Hydra like Luo Feng, he expected that Li Yao and his wife would repeat their old tricks to invade the satellite, causing Luo Feng's armor and body to suffer from delayed malfunctions again. In order to prevent this, Yejuju had already asked the Red Queen to invade the satellite and completely control the satellite to establish a defense line just to prevent this trick from happening. What is the Red Queen? It is the most inferior artificial intelligence in the world of Resident Evil. And what can be called artificial intelligence, how can it be compared to the so-called intelligent programs in this world? Its level of intelligence even far surpassed the auxiliary optical brain that Luo Feng later obtained. How could such a Red Queen be invaded by a mere hacker? The reason why Yejuju did this was not because he was worried that Luo Feng would die here, but just as a precaution. He was not sure if something went wrong with Luo Feng, whether it would affect his ability to absorb the mental power of the Hydra. In fact, Yejuju was right to do this. His physical limits. It's just a mental attack from the 4 snake heads of the Hydra. This is also the opportunity God gave Yejuju and Luo Feng. If Yang Hui hadn't cut off one of the 9 heads of the Hydra snake in advance, or if Luo Feng hadn't been the first to rush in front, attracting the Hydra snake's attack. If Yejuju rushes forward rashly, once the 9-headed dragon snake discovers that he wants to absorb his spiritual power, he will definitely attack Yejuju without hesitation. In this case, even if Yejuju had a system and a universal furnace, he would not be able to withstand the full mental impact of the 9-headed dragon snake. Precisely because of Luo Feng's existence, his spiritual power is really attractive to the Hydra. That was why the 9-headed dragon snake misjudged the horror of Yejuju's universal furnace and did not attack Yejuju with its remaining 4 heads. All the coincidences led to the current facts, and both Yejuju and Luo Feng received benefits that ordinary people could not imagine. Other people's spiritual power starts from awakening, and none of them can grow slowly without hard work. But what about Yejuju and the others? By chance, being able to absorb the mental power of the Hydra, even if most of it is lost, is a huge benefit to Luo Feng. Among the two, Luo Feng felt the most real. He clearly felt that his mental power was slowly growing. From the originally stagnant senior warrior level to the junior warrior level, it is still growing slowly. Of course, this process seems slow, but it is hundreds of times faster than his usual practice. But here, Yejuju was in a completely different state. The mental power that entered his body was completely absorbed and transformed by the universal furnace, without any waste. The energy value has also returned to the value of 8,600, and is still growing by adding 1 to the mental attribute every minute. The only thing that dissatisfied Yejuju was that somehow, he didn't feel any sign of his spiritual power beginning to awaken. Here, after Li Yao learned the fact that they could not invade the satellite, the couple were angry and frightened themselves. They thought that someone had discovered what they had done and strengthened the satellite's defense. Although one of them is a high-level god of war and the other is a god of war, not to mention the Bolanaz family's communicator in the HR Alliance, they are also afraid of those who are truly in power. For example, Hong, Lei, and several of his major inspectors. As long as these people say a word, even if the two of them don't die, they can't be as unscrupulous and lawless as before. Regardless of what happened to the two of them, here at Yejuju, the two of them were still tirelessly absorbing the spiritual power of the Hydra. Not only the two of them, but even the onlookers could clearly see that the body of the Hydra was withering visibly to the naked eye. That's right, just like when a plant is about to die and its main trunk withers, the muscles on its body begin to gradually atrophy. This is a sign that the spiritual power in its body is gradually unable to make ends meet. In other words, the Hydra is about to die due to exhaustion of mental power. This kind of ending is not what Hydra wants. Facing death, the Hydra no longer cared about anything else. From its remaining mental power, it issued an order to the monster group that was attacking the base to siege here. The consequence of this is that he changed from the original active offensive to the weak one. The two people who instantly noticed the change in its mental power took the initiative to increase the intensity of absorbing its mental power without any scruples. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 407. Luo Feng didn't know that the nine-headed dragon snake had been desperately summoning the beast tide regardless of the loss of its own mental power, hoping to use the beast tide to attack here, interrupt or even kill the two of them to escape. But Yejuju knew the situation through the monitoring of the Red Queen. There is nothing to say, and the next thing is to fight for time. Let's see whether Yejuju and the others will drain the mental power of the nine-headed dragon snake first and kill the nine-headed dragon snake. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. Or let's see those monster groups break through the defense circle of Yang Hui and the others first, rush to the front of the two of them, and kill the two of them. It took only more than a minute, and the scattered beast groups in the city swarmed here. As soon as they arrived at the battlefield, they fought with the warriors and soldiers guarding here. Yang Hui and the others were not idle either. How could they not know with their experience that the nine-headed dragon snake couldn't do anything to Yejuju and the others, and they were planning to mobilize the monsters in the city to rescue it? Without saying a word, several people acted as firefighters. They rushed to the place where the monsters had a high impact intensity, trying not to let a monster break through the defense line and disturb Yejuju and the others. The monster's impact was very fierce, and they attacked the defense circle fearlessly, but with the efforts of everyone, no monster could break into the defense circle. However, the price was also heavy. Many soldiers and warriors with low cultivation died under the claws of monsters. The corpses of monsters and the broken corpses of humans piled up a thick wall of flesh and blood, and broken arms were everywhere. The degree of tragedy was even bloodier than on the city wall. Obviously, both monsters and humans understood a truth. If the nine-headed dragon snake died, this time the monster siege would be a victory for the human side, and the Jiangnan base would be saved. On the contrary, if the monster broke through the human wall and killed Yejuju and the others, and there was no human strongman who could restrain the nine-headed dragon snake, the Jiangnan base would fall. This is not to say that the nine-headed dragon snake is really terribly strong and comparable to those emperor-level monsters. Among humans, in addition to the strongest Hong and Lei Shen, there are at least 10 people who can fight the nine-headed dragon snake. However, Hong and Lei Shen have reached an agreement with the powerful emperor-level monsters. As long as the emperor-level monsters do not come out, they cannot kill the monsters that attack the city. Speaking of which, this is also a sad thing. Obviously, there are people among humans who can kill emperor-level monsters, but because there are too few people, they have to compromise with the monsters. There is no way, none of those yellow-level monsters can be simply measured by monsters. It's nothing to be alone, but once these emperor-level monsters join forces, even if Hong and Lei Shen join forces, they can't defeat them. And once those emperor-level monsters cannot be killed, what awaits humans will be the emperor-level monsters leading the monsters to slaughter humans. I.Herfa think about Chinese website A. It can be regarded as a kind of balance. Although the yellow-level monsters are powerful, they are not sure to kill Hong and Lei Shen. Even if they destroy all mankind, with Hong and Lei Shen around, they will not be able to escape the fate of being killed by Hong and Lei Shen as long as they are alone in one place. Besides, humans need to hunt monsters to enhance their strength, and monsters also need to hunt humans to reproduce. So, this is how the world became. The emperor-level monsters and Hong and Lei Shen became a deterrent force for both sides, and they would not come out to fight easily. This is also the reason why Hong and Lei Shen did not show up even though Jiangnan base was in danger. All the people who saw the scene through the satellite could not help but get nervous, worrying whether Yejuju and the others could finally kill the nine-headed dragon snake and save Jiangnan base. Only Li Yao and his wife did not think so. At this time, they were so angry that they wished they could personally help the nine-headed dragon snake kill Yejuju and the others and avenge their son. As for whether Jiangnan base can be saved, what does it have to do with them? But the two of them also took into consideration Yang Hui and the others present. Although they were only junior and intermediate war gods, they had the world's strongest Hong standing behind them. They dared not act rashly at this time and help the nine-headed dragon snake kill Yejuju and the others. Otherwise, even if the Bolanaz family wanted to protect them, they would not be able to do so. Even more, they would kill the two of them personally and give an explanation to the warriors all over the world. The two of them stared at the screen with red eyes, expecting the nine-headed dragon snake to finally burst out and kill Yejuju and the others. Unfortunately, they did not know that the nine-headed dragon snake was at the end of its light crossbow at this time, and its mental power was almost exhausted. It was about to be sucked dry by Yejuju and the others and die. Among the two, Yejuju could not see what he had gained, but his mental attribute had doubled to 76 points, and his energy value had reached as much as 15,200 points. It can be said that he had gained a lot. But even so, Yejuju was still not as good as Luo Feng. Luo Feng's spiritual power had already broken through to the advanced general level, and it could be said that his gains were far greater than Yejuju's at this time. At this moment, the nine-headed dragon snake seemed to feel that it was about to die. Unwilling to die in the hands of two humans, the nine-headed dragon snake finally chose to explode. With a loud roar of ang, the body of the nine-headed dragon snake suddenly swelled up, and a strong wind blew around it. Waves of air surged in all directions, blowing Yejuju and the others almost flying up. When Yejuju saw this situation, he knew something was wrong. He felt that the nine-headed dragon snake wanted to self-destruct and die together. Without thinking too much, Yejuju stopped absorbing mental power, moved to Luo Feng, and kicked Luo Feng away without saying a word. The next second, Yejuju's body suddenly opened, and a large amount of white mist gushed out from his chest. This was the ultimate move of cold current that was unceremoniously performed. Yejuju had no choice. He could stay away from here before the nine-headed dragon snake self-destruct, but the system task was to kill the nine-headed dragon snake himself. Although the system did not require him to kill the nine-headed dragon snake himself, according to the nature of the system, it might not be considered that he had completed the task. And Yejuju absolutely did not want to give up this task. Special reward. What a rare opportunity. Since he didn't want to give up, Yejuju had to take a gamble. He bet that the nine-headed dragon snake would be completely restrained by his ultimate move before it exploded, interrupting its self-explosion. In this way, even if the nine-headed dragon snake died in his hands, the mission would be completed. Even if he couldn't stop the nine-headed dragon snake from self-exploding, couldn't he teleport back to the Marvel world at the moment of the explosion? In a blink of an eye, the white mist completely wrapped up the huge body of the nine-headed dragon snake. Yejuju could even clearly hear the sound of click, click coming from the body of the nine-headed dragon snake. Without looking, Yejuju knew that this was the sound of the cold air quickly freezing the body of the nine-headed dragon snake, and the ice layer cracked under the struggle of the nine-headed dragon snake. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 408. The Hydra was in pain and depression at this time. Even if the human being in front of him has the power of ice, how can he be his opponent in his heyday? Unfortunately, one wrong step after another. It shouldn't have gotten itself into such a situation just to covet the spiritual power and vigorous vitality of two human beings. What's even more annoying is that even if it wants to self-destruct and die with the enemy, it seems to be a luxury at this time. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. It felt like its body was constantly being wrapped by a thick layer of ice, and the power of the ice froze even the blood in its body. How can it gather its strength and detonate the energy crystal core to kill all the humans in front of it? No matter what it thought, under the freezing ice, the Hydra's body had gradually lost consciousness, and its consciousness began to blur. At the last moment, before its consciousness dissipated, it finally detonated the crystal core. A medium-sized muffled sound of boom came out, and then the body of the Hydra exploded like a watermelon, with fragments of flesh and blood frozen into ice cubes and broken ice splashing everywhere. All. Pity. It didn't know until it died that the final power of its so-called self-destruction was just to explode its own body and crack the ice on its surface. It is far from reaching the nuclear bomb-like explosion power that a high-level Lord-level monster should self-destruct. It tore apart Yejuju and the two men in an instant, and even destroyed most of the city. Under Yejuju's worry, he finally heard the system prompt sound and exhaled heavily. Only then did he have time to check the system prompt. Congratulations to the host for completing the world mission. Kill the nine-headed dragon snake, and you will be rewarded with 10,000 experience points and a special reward. The special reward is a crystal core containing the spiritual power of the Hydra. It reminds the host that after swallowing the crystal core, the host can awaken his spiritual power. Haha! Whatever I want comes to me, I can finally become a spiritual master. Haha! He couldn't help the ecstasy in his heart. If it weren't for something wrong, Yejuju would have laughed out loud. Yejuju was really satisfied with this adventure, it was so worth it. Mental power. Whether in this world or in other worlds, they are all super premium abilities, and he, Yejuju, also possesses them. Why not make Yejuju happy? At this moment, Luo Feng had already rushed back, hovering next to Yejuju on his shield and asked nervously. How's it going? Brother yet? Are you injured anywhere? Hearing Luo Feng's caring words, Yejuju was very satisfied with Luo Feng's immediate concern for him, reached out and patted him on the shoulder and said, "I'm fine, madman, the Hydra snake was killed by us. Base. Diamond suit. Saved." As soon as the sound fell, the monsters that were besieging the human defense line seemed to wake up in an instant, stopped attacking humans, and howled together. I dotsit herfatramansa. For a time, the roars of monsters were heard throughout Jiangnan base and inside and outside. Then, without the mental power of Hydra to control them, these monsters turned around and ran towards the wilderness. The human warriors who were still fighting looked blankly at the monsters who left without looking back. After a long time, they all let out loud cheers. "Oh, we won, the base was saved," the cheers resounded throughout the city. Next, the walls that make up the physical wall. The soldiers and warriors rushed towards Yejuju and surrounded them. Countless hands stretched out, flattened the two people, and while cheering, they threw the two people into the air with force, dropped them, caught them, and threw them into the air again, over and over again. Looking at Yejuju and the two people on the screen, who were surrounded by stars, Li Yao angrily picked up the chair in the room and threw it out. The huge screen was smashed to pieces with a bang, and the broken glass splashed all over the floor. Vanina's face turned dark, and with a little force on her right hand, she crushed the special mobile phone in her hand into pieces. Then Vanina said with a cold voice and gritted teeth, "Humph, you two are lucky, you didn't die like this. But I, Vanina, will not let you go. No matter how high the price is, I will find a way to kill you." Snored. "Wynina, contact me James. I want to hire his mercenary team at a high price to go to Hangzhou with me and kill those two little bastards." Snored. "I not only want to kill the two of them, but also let their relatives and even their close friends die, so that they can feel the feeling of losing their loved ones." After smashing the screen, Li Yao also calmed down and said to Wenina in a cold voice. Obviously, he knew that Yejuju and the other two were no longer beings he could kill casually. After all, the two of them stopped the Hydra and forced the Hydra to self-destruct, saving the base and becoming heroes for the entire human race. There must be a lot of people paying attention to them at this time, and they want to kill them in the city, whether they can succeed or not. Even if it could be done, he would not dare to do it. Otherwise, if he dared to kill two people in public, death would definitely be waiting for him, and even the Bolanaz family would treat him as an abandoned son. But if he couldn't kill them in the city, what about in the wild? As long as they came out, he would have a chance to kill them. In theory, with his strength as a high-level war god, it would be easy to kill two people. But in order to be on the safe side, Li Yao did not hesitate to ask the mercenary team to take action without giving the two people a chance to escape. It can be imagined how determined he was to kill Yejuju and the other two. At that time, as long as he killed two people in the wild, no matter who it was, even if they knew that he did it, they couldn't do anything to him without evidence. In fact, after the previous battle, Yejuju and Luo Feng did catch the eyes of many people. In front of many people, the information of the two people was placed. And the most important ones among them were Hong and Lei Shen. Let's not talk about Lei Shen. Even if he was optimistic about the two and wanted to win them over, he had to consider Hong's face and couldn't come out directly. After all, no matter what, Yejuju and the other two were people from Hong's Extreme Martial Arts Hall. At this time, in the hall of Hong's villa, Hong was wearing a homely tang suit, standing in front of a huge screen with his hands behind his back, looking at the information of Yejuju and Luo Feng displayed on the screen for a long time without saying a word. Behind him, there were three people sitting or standing. Among the three people, two men, one in his 30s, with muscular body and full of explosive power. One in his 20s, with white hair and a cold expression. The remaining one was a young woman with an extremely charming and sexy appearance. This woman was the most dazzling one among the three, with a long blonde hair that reached her waist, a delicate face, and a combination of Eastern and Western beauty, as beautiful as a goddess, not like a human woman. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuan-Chi. Chapter 409. Not only that, but the most exaggerated thing is her tall figure, especially the devilish curves, which makes men unable to help but have a strong desire for her. After the woman quickly read Yejuju's information, she glanced at the white-haired man standing beside her with his hands on his trouser legs and said, "Tisk, Tisk, a warrior with ice ability. Iceberg, your strong competitor has appeared. How about it, are you interested in meeting that little guy named Yejuju? Don't just call others little guy. You're not that old, aren't you? You're enchanting." Bingshan retorted rudely, and when he was about to say something more, he heard Hong speak. "Yaoluo is right, Bingshan, you should go meet that boy named Yejuju." "Ah!" 3 exclamations sounded at the same time. Bingshan, Yaolao, and the man who had been silent all this time all exclaimed, obviously not expecting that Hong would value a young warrior so much. The 3 of them looked at Hong's back with shocked faces, waiting for Hong to explain why. Then, I heard Hong continue to speak without looking back. "That young man named Yejuju has huge ice energy potential. His ice energy is even more powerful than Bingshan's. What he lacks is nothing more than the understanding and application of ice power, as well as the gap in cultivation." "Why?" Hearing this, Bingshan became uneasy and asked. Hong turned around, looked at Bingshan and asked, "Let me ask you, if it were you, with the strength of an intermediate general, could you trap Big and kill the Hydra?" Without waiting for Bingshan to answer, Hong continued. "No way. The power of your ice ability only completely changed after you became the god of war. So, what about that young man who grew up to be the god of war? Will he be no match for you?" Hearing this, Bingshan fell silent. They asked themselves that he really couldn't freeze a monster like the Hydra with the strength of an intermediate general like Yejuju. However, Bingshan was not jealous of Yejuju because of this. Obviously, those who can become Hong's personal disciples and personal guards are indeed higher than many people in terms of caliber. At this time, Hong didn't need to say anything else. Bingshan decided to go to the elite training camp and meet Yejuju. If Yejuju's character is acceptable, he would not mind sharing his experience in using ice energy with Yejuju, adding a powerful warrior to mankind's resistance to monsters. At this moment, Hong opened his mouth again and said, "If you go this time, help me send a message to the Bolanaz family. If you want to take revenge on the 2 of them, you can. I don't care what means they use. But not against their family and friends. This is the bottom line. Otherwise, I don't mind making them pay a price they can't bear." After speaking, Hong turned around and walked into his training room, ignoring the 3 guards who were obviously stunned. Apparently, while investigating Yejuju's information, the enmity between the 2 and the Bolinas family was also handed over to Hong's hands. Hong, who understands the behavior of these wealthy families, would not know the dirty tricks of these people. He didn't want Yejuju and the 2 to be distracted by these distractions and affect their cultivation progress, so he would naturally give these people some warning. As for how they will deal with Yejuju and the 2, in Hong's opinion, it is just a test for the 2 of them. How can you see a rainbow without going through wind and rain? Hong is a strong man who has grown up after countless battles, so he naturally understands this. Reason. Excessive love will only make 2 people disappear from the crowd. There are hardships and even life and death in the past, which can only be good for the growth of the 2 people, not bad. Of course, if the 2 of them failed to withstand these ordeals and fell, Hong would not intervene even if he felt distressed. This is also Hong's bottom line. Riding on Yang Hui's S-Class Smart Fighter, Luo Feng showed a strong interest in the Smart Fighter and kept asking Yang Hui about the fighter. Yejuju sat quietly on his chair, reading the prompts just sent by the system. Congratulations to the host for completing the world's hidden mission. Rescue the Jiangnan base, assist the human warriors in defeating the beast tide, and secure the Jiangnan base, and you will be rewarded with 50,000 experience points. It prompts that the host level has been improved. The current level is 37, and the strength and stamina are increased by 0.5 each. Intelligence, spirit, and agility each increase by 1 and have been automatically assigned to the attribute panel. Please check the details by the host. After reading the message, my consciousness entered the space, and I looked at the Hydra Dragon spiritual power crystal core that exuded bright purple light with itching heart. I really wanted to swallow it immediately. Unfortunately, there are too many outsiders here, and it is really not suitable for him to swallow the crystal core and awaken his spiritual power at this time. However, he took advantage of this moment to look at his information panel. Name Yejuju. Age 16 years old. Professional mechanical hunter. Level 37, 272-004-7000. Property. Power 1005. Physical strength 205. Intelligence 39. Spirit 77. Agile 39. Speed 127 meters per second. Energy 15,400, 77 minutes recovery speed. Professional talents and skills. 1 Advanced Combat Master. 2 Senior Mechanical Master. Pet Mechanical 2-headed Dragon, Mechanical 3-headed Dog, Mecha Warrior. Practice Method, 5 Hearts to Heaven, Passive Skill Mastery Level Strength 50, Speed 50, 9-layer Ice Blade. Mount, Chasing the Wind. Special Space Mechanical Manufacturing Space 10,000 square meters, Traps 100, Spider Silk Sprayers, Mechanical Flies 100, Wolf Packs 23, Mechanical Drones 10, Liquid Metal Robots 6, Transformation Elements, 6 Fire Seeds. I.At Herfud. Drawings 0. Special Permissions 0. Good fellow, this trip to Jiangnan base was very fruitful, not to mention the level was raised by 1 level again. The biggest gain was that the spirit attribute doubled to become the second highest attribute after the strength attribute. This had an unimaginable effect on the strength that could be improved after he awakened his spirit. The speed of the fighter plane was very fast, and in less than half an hour, several people returned to the training camp base. After getting off the fighter plane and saying goodbye to Yang Hui and others, Yejuju, Luo Feng, and Shi Zhang returned to Jiangnan Pavilion. After hurriedly saying hello to Zhaoruo, who looked unhappy, Yejuju went straight to his own practice room. Close the door and sit cross-legged on the ground. Yejuju can't wait to take out the 9-headed dragon snake's spiritual power crystal core from the space. Holding the crystal core with 3 fingers and placing it in front of his eyes, Yejuju suppressed the desire to swallow it immediately and asked the system very carefully. System, just swallow it directly. Are there any side effects? System. Yes, host, the energy of the crystal core is very pure, and swallowing it directly will not have any adverse effects on the host. The only thing the host needs to pay attention to is that the process of awakening spiritual power will be a little painful. As long as the host persists, he will awaken his spiritual power and become a spiritualist. A little painful. Yejuju muttered in surprise, and then he was relieved. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 410. If you want to get extraordinary power, you have to pay a price. It's just a little pain, Yejuju is not afraid. Taking a deep breath, Yejuju swallowed the crystal core in his hand without hesitation. The crystal core melted in his mouth, without the feeling of swallowing hard objects as imagined, and instantly turned into a stream of cold liquid flowing into the abdomen. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a warm current, quickly flowing from the abdomen along the meridians to the brain sea of consciousness. Ah! The intense pain instantly filled his head, and Yejuju couldn't help but howl, holding his head with both hands and almost rolling on the ground in pain. He couldn't help cursing the system in his heart. Is this what you said, some pain? Damn, this is very painful. This kind of pain is just like the pain from the soul, which can't be described in words at all. Just think about it, you know, a person who has no mental power, forcibly opened up a mental power in the brain sea of consciousness. It was like creating a space out of nothing in the sea of consciousness of the brain, which was naturally extremely painful. Moreover, the brain is the most delicate and fragile organ of the human body, and it is naturally more painful to operate there than to give birth to a child. Fortunately, Yejuju's physical fitness has long been far superior to that of ordinary people by 20 times, and after half an hour of sweating in pain, suddenly, a strange scene appeared in his mind. Just like the cosmic star map formed in the dantian of the body due to the practice of the 5 hearts to the sky technique, a galaxy image also appeared in the sea of consciousness in the brain. The difference is that there are no extra planets in this image, only colorful and winding strips of galaxies. And all the galaxies are moving slowly around one direction, and in the middle is a bead-shaped star core emitting purple light, which is slowly rotating in a clockwise direction. It seems that in the sound of something breaking, a nerve in Yejuju's brain seems to be opened. The next second, all the pain disappeared, and then Yejuju raised his hand with a sudden inspiration, and with a thought, he put his index and middle fingers together, and gently moved to a dumbbell weighing 50 kilograms in the corner of the room. With a sound of whoosh, the dumbbell weighing 50 kilograms flew towards Yejuju, at a very fast speed. Even Yejuju's eyesight could only see a trace of after-image. Then, with Yejuju's mind control, the dumbbell quickly spun in the room, in the not very large room, with a whirring sound, spinning round and round. This was not enough. Yejuju separated another mental power and controlled another dumbbell in the air, and a pair of dumbbells flew and danced in the room. After experimenting for several minutes, Yejuju finally got tired of playing, and put the pair of dumbbells back to the corner of the room with mental power. He took out the tablet and opened it, and after a quick search, he spent 1 billion without any regrets and bought 10s level blood shadow flying knives. Rightward arrow. Yejuju was also confident that he could control 4 more flying knives than Luo Feng with his newly awakened spiritual power. After placing the order, Yejuju meditated to recover and did not consume much spiritual power. He opened the door and walked out. In the living room, apart from Luo Feng, Zhaoruo and Shizhong were not there. Without asking, it was known that the two had entered their practice rooms to practice again. Luo Feng did not practice, but was on a video call with his family. After all, his family had just experienced a beast tide, and Luo Feng was needed to comfort them. Without disturbing Luo Feng, Yejuju sat on the other side of the sofa and quietly looked at his phone. After waiting for only 10 minutes, the door was knocked. Yejuju knew that it was the Alliance Mall that delivered the goods to the door. He immediately got up, opened the door, and took the box from the escort. Seeing Yejuju receiving the goods, Luo Feng couldn't help but glance at it curiously, but found that the box looked very familiar. After saying goodbye to his family, he hung up the phone and asked Yejuju. I said her thought point guard is here Brother yeah, have you bought any equipment in the Alliance Mall again? Haha. If you want to know, I'll open it and show you. Hearing this, Yejuju didn't intend to hide it. He sat down in front of the coffee table while talking, and opened the box after fingerprint verification. As soon as the box was opened and he saw the things inside, Luo Feng couldn't help but exclaimed ah, and reached out to pick up a flying knife from the box, holding it in his hand and carefully examining it. While examining it, he kept exclaiming tisk tisk, it's really a good thing. Hearing his envy and admiration, Yejeju understood him very well, although the assets of the two were actually not much different and were considered rich. But Luo Feng is different from Yejeju. Yejeju is a person who feeds his whole family. Luo Feng is different. He still has his father, mother, and younger brother to take care of. More importantly, he wants to save enough money as soon as possible to buy life potions for his younger brother to restore his paralyzed legs. Therefore, Luo Feng never dared to spend his money indiscriminately. Even if he could control the S-level telekinetic flying knife a long time ago, he did not buy it. After all, the price of 100 million is still very touching before he becomes a god of war. After observing for a while, Luo Feng suddenly reacted, looked up at Yejeju in surprise and asked. This is a telekinetic flying knife that only spiritualists can use. Brother Ye, why did you buy it? After speaking, Luo Feng raised his voice and exclaimed. Ah! I know, Brother Ye. Could it be that you have also awakened your spiritual power? Because of his excitement, Luo Feng's voice was a little loud, which immediately startled Zhao Ruo and Shi Zhang, who were practicing in the practice room. The two thought something had happened and hurriedly opened the door of the practice room and walked out. Zhao Ruo was the most jumpy, and his voice sounded before he arrived. What's wrong, what's wrong? Luo Feng, Xiao Ye, is there something wrong? After the voice fell, a figure rushed in front of the two people as fast as lightning, and then saw the small and exquisite flying knife in Luo Feng's hand and the 9 flying knives neatly placed in the box, and exclaimed. Ah! It's an S-level blood shadow flying knife worth 100 million each. Who bought it? It's too luxurious, right? After asking, Zhao Ruo also reacted, looked at Yejeju and Luo Feng in surprise, and asked. No, there is a problem here, tell me. Who of you two is a spiritualist? Ah! This. Luo Feng was stunned by Zhao Ruwen. You know, he had to keep his spiritual power secret until he grew up. How should he answer at this time? For a moment, he didn't know what to say. Yejeju saw his embarrassment and understood his difficulties, so he smiled and said. Senior sister, to be honest with you, I just awakened my spiritual power. I bought these flying knives. Haha. It's also my luck. I didn't expect that after the battle with the 9-headed dragon snake, I didn't die, and I was lucky enough to awaken my spiritual power. It was really a pleasant surprise. Across the Heavens, Marvel's Mechanical Hunter. Author, De Chuanqi. Chapter 411. The fastest update. Although Yejeju said it lightly, Shi Zhang, the eyewitness, did not think so. This is not luck, but the result of courage and luck complementing each other. After Yejeju finished speaking, he was still worried that the two would not believe it, so he pointed his right hand at the 9 flying knives in the box, and his mind moved. The 9 flying knives flew out of the box silently, floating in front of Yejeju like a fan of knives, which made Zhao Ruo and Shi Zhang open their mouths wide. Even Luo Feng, who is also a spiritualist, was quite surprised. 10 flying knives? I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Thinking that Luo Feng has been a spiritualist for a year, and now has reached the level of a senior general level spiritualist, he cannot control 10 flying knives at once. But Brother Ye has just awakened his spiritual power and can control 10 knives. What kind of heaven-defying talent is this? At this moment, Luo Feng even began to doubt whether Yejeju was the son of destiny in this world. Otherwise, how could he not be better than Brother Ye in that aspect? Zhao Ruo stared at Yejeju with eyes wide open, looking at him in disbelief, and muttered. I also want to become a general mind master, why didn't I go to Jiangnan with you? Shi Zhang on the side heard this and rolled his eyes and said in his heart. You think you can become a spiritual mind master if you go there, I am not there, why can't I? Yejuju looked at the envious eyes of the three people, and he was so happy in his heart. However, he also knew that he could not continue to stimulate them. He put away the flying knife and went back to the practice room alone under the pretext of practicing to control the flying knife. Looking at Yejuju who was leaving, Luo Feng gritted his teeth and also went into his own practice room under the pretext of practicing. He secretly made up his mind to practice and control the flying knife, and strive to catch up with Yejuju's progress as soon as possible. The next day, Yejuju left Jiangnan Pavilion refreshed. Today, he was going to start challenging the levels of the trial tower. Accompanying him was Luo Feng, who also had the same idea. When the two of them arrived in front of the trial tower, there were already many students gathered here. Some of them came to challenge the tower, while others came to watch the fun. Seeing the arrival of Yejuju and Luo Feng, two newcomers, they all started to talk. Hey, why are these two newcomers here to challenge the tower? How arrogant they are. They have only been in the training camp for a few days and have not practiced much, but they are here to embarrass themselves. How many levels can they pass? I think the first level a stage should be no problem. After all, who can enter the training camp without two brushes? Haha. Anyone want to bet? I bet they can only pass the first level a stage this time. Haha, such a good thing, I will also participate. I bet they can't beat the sea-level difficulty. Listening to the discussions around them, Yejuju and the others walked through the crowd without any care and entered the trial tower. Before getting on the machine, Luo Feng looked at Yejuju seriously and said, "Brother Ye, I wish you to enter the top 100 in one try." Haha, that's a must. I also wish you to enter the top 100 and shut up those people. Come on. Yejuju said to Luo Feng with a smile, and then made a cheering gesture, put on the helmet and entered the virtual space with consciousness. The scene was still familiar. Yejuju stretched his arms and moved his body back, adjusted his hands and feet, and began to prepare for the battle. The battle came soon, and it was still the familiar herd of wild bulls. Yejuju killed these monsters in less than 10 minutes. After getting a system rating of 13, he started the sea level test without stopping. The electronic voice reminded, "You have completed the first level of the B stage trial. The next step is the C stage trial. The goal is to kill 200 wild bulls within 50 minutes. Among these 200 wild bull monsters, there are 190 primary beast generals and 10 medium beast generals. Good luck." After the voice fell, the deafening sound of cattle came from the distance, followed by the sound of dense cattle hooves stomping on the ground, rushing towards Yejuju. The fastest update of Marvel Mechanical Hunter across the heavens for you, the great god, is here. 438 start to read the trial tower for free. The fastest update. There were only 200 wild bulls. Yejuju was ready. Just when the herd of wild bulls rushed in front of him, Yejuju moved. His figure jumped out like lightning, and he swung the sword in his hand continuously. Every simple, direct, and precise sword cut the neck of the wild bull. In just a moment, 4 wild bulls were killed. At this time, the herd of wild bulls also surrounded Yejuju in the middle, and took turns to attack Yejuju continuously. Facing the siege of the dense herd of wild bulls, Yejuju was not panicked at all. His figure kept jumping and shuttling between the gaps and bodies of the wild bulls, and his sword never missed, quickly killing the herd of wild bulls. He chopped and killed tirelessly for half an hour. When Yejuju stopped, all 200 wild bulls had been killed by him. Congratulations, student Yejuju, you killed all the wild bulls in 30 minutes. You have passed all the tests on the first floor of the trial tower. After the voice fell, the scene in front of him changed, and the vast desert appeared in front of Yejuju. Needless to say, Yejuju also knew that this was the test of the second floor of the trial tower. If nothing unexpected happens, his score is already 20, which is higher than most of the trainees in the training camp. As expected, the electronic voice sounded again. Student Yejuju, congratulations on completing the first level of the trial. Next, it is the second level of the trial tower, stage a trial. Your goal is to kill 50 primary beast general level armored scorpions within 10 minutes, I wish you good luck. 50 iron armored scorpions, 10 minutes. Yejuju muttered to himself, and the sword in his hand subconsciously made a knife flower, and added confidently. I don't need 10 minutes, only 5 minutes is enough. After the voice fell, Yejuju's eyes were fixed on the ground in front of him. He knew that the armored scorpion liked to hide in the sand to sneak attack the target the most. If you don't want this annoying thing to sneak attack, you have to be careful. As expected, at this moment, a slight rustling sound came from the sand in front of him, behind him, and on his left and right. Then, the sand suddenly exploded with a bang. A dozen black shadows took advantage of the sand in the sky to block the view and attacked Yejuju from the air and the ground. Shua shua shua, the sound of the blade splitting the air, mixed with a series of bright knife lights, appeared around Yejuju as fast as lightning. Puchi puchi sounds rang out one after another. The dozen or so armored scorpions that wanted to sneak attack Yejuju had their heads chopped off. After falling to the ground and twitching for a while, they turned into blue light spots and disappeared. After killing the dozen or so armored scorpions that attacked him, Yejuju did not stop. His body quickly ran on the surrounding sand, stabbing the armored scorpions that had not yet come out of the sand. 5 minutes, exactly 5 minutes, an electronic voice came to my ears. Congratulations, Student Yejuju. You killed all of Wu Shizi's armored scorpions within 5 minutes and completed the second level A test. The next level B test begins, please kill 100 armored scorpions within 30 minutes. The fastest update of Marvel Mechanical Hunter across the heavens by the great God. 438 Start to read the trial tower for free.